Mrs. Parks played a pivotal role in our nation's history. Mrs. Parks is the mother of the civil rights movement. When you think of catalysts in the world, Mrs. Parks is up there with the best of them. Here at Bloodline Revolution, we represent revolutionary people. We represent people that are catalysts. We represent people that stirred up a chemical change. And Mrs. Parks is definitely one of those people. Is definitely a catalyst. This is my latest masterpiece. American Her Story 1, the revolutionized portrait of Mrs. Rosa Parks. And if you don't know who Mrs. Rosa Parks is, you've been living under a rock for a long time. A long time, all right? In this video, I'm going to explain to you the story behind this. You know, this whole piece tells a story. It's more than just a visual masterpiece. It's a poetic masterpiece. It's a literal masterpiece. And it tells a story, a huge and incredible, powerful story of this powerful woman, you know. As you look at it, you know, of course, in the foreground, you see Mrs. Parks. Mrs. Parks is standing strong. I mean, you can see it in her face. You can see the strength in her face. Like she is showing you, you know what, I'm a pivotal person, I'm a leader, and I'm a revolutionary. You know, you can see it in her face. You can see the power just in her facial expressions. You can see it. Now, as you look around the piece, you see so many different elements here. And all of these elements are connected. You see pieces of hieroglyphics. You see the Alabama state flag, altered Alabama state flag. You see people, you see medals. I mean, I'm going to explain all of it and basically tell you how it all ties together. First and foremost, you see the strength in Mrs. Parks. Now, this is basically a play off of the famous mugshot of Mrs. Parks. Now, in the mugshot, Mrs. Parks is holding, you know, her inmate mugshot number, right? This time around, I altered that. Instead of having her hold the inmate number, I got her holding a golden plate that says revolution, because that's mainly what she started. You know, she is the mother of the civil rights movement, okay? She's also wearing a military uniform. Now, the military uniform signifies many things. It signifies that, you know, she's powerful, she has strength, you know, resilience. You know, when you're a soldier, you have to display all those elements, you know, and she has them without even being sworn in to the army. You know, it's in her. You know, the leadership that she has is within her. You know, she was born with it. Leaders are born. You can't teach a leader anything. You know, you can teach a leader how to lead, but you can't teach a leader to lead. Leaders are born. She's born with it. As you can see her rank, she's a general. She's a general. You know, a general is true leadership. You know, not only is she a general on her own, but she's also a general in the civil rights movement. All right, a 3-star general in the civil rights movement. So if you look at her uniform a little bit, you want to see the 3 stars basically represent her rank of being a 3-star general. If you look at the insignia on her collars, the insignia says freedom fighter. So she is a general in the civil rights movement. She's a general as a freedom fighter. So that's how she's rolling. She's rolling by leading. She's leading by example, right? As you also see the patches, she has the Bloodline Revolution patch. Now, the reason why she has the Bloodline Revolution patch is because she is a huge inspiration to us. You know, we understand the role that she's played in her life, you know, her destiny of being who she is. You know, she is a definite catalyst, and we want to represent that. Mrs. Parks is an honorary member of the Bloodline Revolution, and we want to represent her and show her our appreciation for inspiring us. So she is also a general, an honorary general in the Bloodline Revolution. Serious business. As you look through it for more, man, there's so many elements here, and they all tie together. So we talked about Mrs. Parks, why she has a military uniform. If you look behind her in the background, you see different elements of hieroglyphics. You also see the altered American flag. Now, you've seen this American flag before, all right? This altered American flag before. I used this idea before in a previous American history piece. I used it in American History 1. This is the American history / her story American flag. This is what's represented in the series of American history / her story. That is the American history / her story altered flag, and you'll see it more than once. You know, this flag will be represented in the series. The one thing that's always going to be the same with this flag is that you're going to see, you know, the red and black stripes going up and down. In the area where it's blue, you know how the American flag has the blue area, the blue square, the blue rectangle? That's always going to change based on the story that we're trying to tell. In this story, we're representing the wisdom of Mrs. Rosa Parks. All right, so this is the hieroglyphic of wisdom, right? So in the altered American Her Story flag, the hieroglyphics wisdom is representing the wisdom that she portrayed, you know, who she is, you know, her wisdom got her to where she is today. The next hieroglyphic we're going to talk about is destiny. This is destiny right here. Destiny represents her destiny. You know, her destiny was to start a revolution, you know, and that's what she did. You know, her destiny allowed her to bring people together in ways that can't even be described. Down here is the hieroglyphic symbol of mother. Now, if you understand Mrs. Parks' story, Mrs. Parks gained the title of mother of the civil rights movement based off of what she did. Her actions stirred up a chemical change, which makes her a catalyst. All right, her actions started the boycotts of buses, started boycotts of other things. You know, she was the catalyst of all those things based off of her standing her ground on that bus and doing what she knew she believed was right. And it all worked out. She changed the world with that. Catalyst. Mrs. Parks is a catalyst. All those tied together. You think about her wisdom. Her wisdom brought her to her destiny, which brought her to becoming the mother of the civil rights movement. Now, if you look behind on this side here, you see a bunch of people and you see a building. Now, this building here is an altered version of the Montgomery, Alabama City Hall building. Okay, in the City Hall building, the original City Hall building, there is a clock right here. But instead of having the clock, I took the clock out and put Mrs. Rosa Parks's initials in there. I got an R in there, basically representing not only Rosa Parks, but also revolution and rise. It means all three things. If you look at it even further, if you go up, usually you'll see, you know, either the American flag there or the Alabama state flag there. But here I have the Alabama state flag, altered Alabama state flag, right? Now, in the original Alabama state flag, there's, it's white and what looks to be an X going across, right? Now, in this one, I do have it where the red X is going across, but I've altered it to represent the revolutionary colors, the colors of revolution, which are red, black, and green. Now you see red, black, and green all through there, and hints of gold in this flag. So that's an altered Alabama state flag. And if it was up to you, hopefully, you know, the people in Alabama that see this, maybe this could be an idea that they could upgrade. I'm just saying, you know. And also in the background, if you look at the people. Now, I did this purposely because I wanted people to understand something. I purposely did this to where you can't tell what culture they're from. You know, you don't know their color, you don't know their race, you don't know their religion, you don't know their culture. You know, all you know is that they're a bunch of human beings standing together in a crowd of people in front of the Montgomery, Alabama City Hall building with picket signs. You know, you don't know their race. All you see is unity. You know, it doesn't matter what color you are. And that's the one thing that Mrs. Parks elemented, was equality with everyone. Shouldn't be based on color, shouldn't be based on creed, shouldn't be based on culture, it shouldn't be based on anything. You know, you just see a bunch of human beings coming together, representing and spouting the words of the revolution. If you look at the picket signs, people also hold the picket signs. Rise, rise. You know, you see one picket sign that says victory for all, meaning all people, all human beings. This is a victory for everyone. You know, her action stirred up a revolution. And you see this other picket sign that says, the revolution starts with you. Now, if you see all these things here, all these things that they're tying in together, you see revolution, you know, our revolution, you know, it's all tying together. Everything is tying together, you know. She's holding a sign that says revolution. Everything around her represents what that is. She's the mother of the civil rights movement, okay? If you look even further, let's go to this side here. This side represents many things. This side represents what she's done, okay? This is a silhouette of Mrs. Parks sitting on the bus, standing her ground, sitting on the bus, knowing what she's doing is right, getting tired of all the hypocrisy, getting tired of everything. You know what? I shouldn't have to move. I'm a human being. I shouldn't have to move. That's her standing her ground. All right. Now, if you look behind the silhouette, you'll see a faded image of the actual bus that she did this on. The actual bus is right here. All right. So her actions on this bus, right, stirs into her wisdom, stirs into her destiny, that makes her the mother of the civil rights movement that caused a revolution. And that revolution started with you, started with her. All of it's coming together. You see it? You see it all jiving together? Let's keep going. Now, this is the Presidential Medal of Freedom that was awarded to her by Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton awarded Mrs. Parks with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest honor in this country. The highest award you can receive was received by Mrs. Parks. Her wisdom brought it to her destiny, made her the mother of the civil rights movement, caused a revolution, and she ended up getting honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. All of it ties together. The story is deep, right? But it's true. Let's keep going. Now, let's talk about this flag here. This is an altered flag. This is American history altered flag. So any flag you see based off of American history, you're going to see this in there. It's all a series. American history, American her story. It's all a series. Now, on every military uniform, we have, well, Army uniform, we have a flag on the right shoulder sleeve. You always see a flag on the right shoulder sleeve. Her flag is the altered American history, her story flag. Now, I talked earlier about the R, right? You see the R here, therefore the R is here, being tied together, representing Mrs. Parks, representing the revolution, and representing rise, rising above everything, rising above what you know needs to happen. Looking at things above eye level, rise. That's exactly what she did. Exactly what she did. What else can we talk about? All right. So, also, we lost Mrs. Parks some years back. You know, Mrs. Parks is in heaven, and I just want to tell her, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for our culture. Since we lost her, I wanted to represent, yes, we lost her. So this is a golden halo above her head. A golden halo, solid gold. Now, if you look at it even deeper, the luminescence from this halo turns into a crown. Now, the crown represents her as royalty. Mrs. Parks is royalty, okay? Her actions, her wisdom, her destiny brought her to becoming the mother of the civil rights movement that stirred up a revolution that had a chemical change in our culture, which makes her a catalyst. And she is royalty. Her whole essence is royal. And I wanted to represent that. So you see this golden halo with a luminescence of a crown, because she is absolute royalty. And we all love her for what she's done for us. In a nutshell, that's the whole piece. That's everything. You know, every time that I look at this, you know, I see different elements, because I really worked hard on this. I really worked hard on this. And I want people to look at this piece as a beacon of hope. You know, we're in hard times right now, you know, and if you could spare $10 to grab a beacon of hope in your house, you know, buy a print and look at this, you know, and see the same beacon that I see. And a lot of people have been talking about it, you know, and the one thing I do want people to understand is that, yes, this is a masterpiece, but this also represents real life. I want people to look at this in every household. I want every household to have a piece of this there. To look and say, you know what? I see it. I see that beacon, and it's all there. All of it. I also want to thank the family of Mrs. Parks that has been encouraging me. I want to thank my family, my whole family that has been encouraging me, all my friends that have been encouraging me, and all of you Bloodline Revolution supporters. I love each and every one of you guys. This right now is the beginning of everything. Now, I look at this piece as not just a masterpiece, but I look at this piece as a catalyst. This is a breakout piece for Bloodline Revolution, and it's going to be represented as such. The same way that I look at Rosa Parks as being a catalyst, I'm looking at Rosa Parks as being a catalyst for another revolution. The revolution within the Bloodline Revolution. The movement that we're working on. She is a catalyst, and we want to represent that. We want to represent her as being part of the breakout that we're going through, the transition that we're going through right now. Mrs. Parks is inspiring that. Ms. Parks, I love you. Appreciate everything that you've done for all of us. And I hope I made you proud. I really did.